नाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, तंत्र श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter number 23, verse number 1. Maitreya uvāca.
Maitreya uvāca.
Priyatam parishyate sādhvī.
pitṛbhyāṁ prasthite sādhvī.
Patim iṅgita-kovidā.
patim iṅgita-kovidā.
nityaṁ paracat prītyā.
nityaṁ paryacarat prītyā.
Bhavānī bhavana prabhum.
bhavānīva bhavaṁ prabhum.
One of you can recite.
Maitreya uvāca.
Maitreya uvāca.
pitṛbhyāṁ prasthite sādhvī.
pitṛbhyāṁ prasthite sādhvī.
patim iṅgita-kovidā.
patim iṅgita-kovidā.
nityaṁ paryacarat prītyā.
nityaṁ paryacarat prītyā.
bhavānīva bhavaṁ prabhum.
bhavānīva bhavaṁ prabhum.
Read translation and purport. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Yes,
Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahūti, who could understand the desire of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavānī, the wife of Lord Śiva, serves her husband. Purport. The specific example of Bhavānī is very significant. Bhavānī means the wife of Bhava or Lord Śiva. Bhavānī or Parvati, the daughter of the king of the Himalayas, selected Lord Śiva, who appears to be just like a beggar, as her husband. In spite of her being a princess, she undertook all kinds of tribulations to associate with Lord Śiva, who did not even have a house but was sitting underneath the tree and passing his time in meditation. Although Bhavānī was the daughter of a very great king, she used to serve Lord Śiva just like a poor woman. Similarly, Devahūti was the daughter of an emperor, Swayambhu Manu, yet she preferred to accept Kardama Muni as her husband. She served him with great love and affection. She knew how to please him. Therefore, she is designated here as sādhvī, which means a chaste, faithful wife. A rare example is the ideal of a Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be as good as and chaste as Devahūti or Bhavānī. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still thought to worship Lord Śiva with the idea that they may get good husbands. They may get husbands like him. Lord Śiva is the ideal husband, not in the sense of richness or sense gratification, but because he is the greatest of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambho. Shambho or Lord Śiva is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Ram and chants Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Śiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is called the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Unmarried girls worship Lord Śiva so that they can expect a husband who is as good as a Vaishnava as he is. The girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if the girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder life. I'll read the next translation also, it's little important for our discussion. O Vidura, Devahūti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of senses, with love and sweet words. Vacham madhuram chabhot. Okay. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagadhanam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Rita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karma Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhaya Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pralayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauracche Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Today we are reading from the chapter Srimad Bhagavatam, the chapter entitled Devahūti's Lamentation. Now, it's a very wonderful section of Srimad Bhagavatam where it is discussed about Swayambhu Manu bringing her daughter Devahūti and they are getting her married to Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni is a sage, and he had got the desire that he wants to marry, and this desire he expressed it to Lord, to the Lord, and Lord himself had given him darshan, and then he told that there will be a marriage which will be taking place, and then immediately after that, Swayambhu Manu comes, and he gets her daughter Devahūti married to Kardama Muni. Now this section of Bhagavatam, or the wonderful qualities of Devahūti are expressed in this verses what we are reading. So we took these verses, because the mood of Devahūti to serve her husband is the same mood a disciple should have to serve his spiritual master. That is the mood which is required when a devotee wants to advance in his spiritual life. He should have this mood of serving the spiritual master and the devotees. The wonderful qualities of Devahūti, she was very chaste in her behavior. She knew the heart of her husband. That is one of the greatest crux, to know the heart of a person and to serve with such intimacy. If you read ahead, it's very beautiful. This section of Bhagavatam, especially these verses, O Vidura, Devahūti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, and with control of senses, with love and sweet words. Each word is like so very important actually for a disciple. If you see, unless there is love towards the spiritual master, or love towards unless there is surrender towards the spiritual master, It's not possible for a person to come ahead and serve his spiritual master with great love. And then, how much respect, one should have for serving the spiritual master. It's so much required actually. And for serving, this one thing which is very important, which where it comes in the section of Narada Muni also. When Narada Muni was serving Bhaktivedantas, that time also it is told about the qualities of Narada Muni. Anyone knows the qualities mentioned about Narada Muni? 4 qualities were mentioned.
He would not speak unnecessarily.
He will not speak unnecessarily. And just recollect.
Would not take part in sports like other kids.
Fabulous. He was not fabulous in taking part, and he was quite, though he was a small boy, he could control his senses. That is there. And he had great eagerness to serve the Vedantists actually. So these 4 qualities were like mentioned for Narada Muni. It's like so very important for a disciple to have these qualities to serve the spiritual master. Not just spiritual master. Spiritual master get pleased when it's just not serving him, but his instructions is always that you should serve Krishna and you should serve all devotees. That is what spiritual master wants. Spiritual master doesn't, he never wants that you should serve me personally. Yeah, if that opportunity comes of serving personally, a disciple should never miss that opportunity. But then he is more pleased when we serve the devotees. That is like very, very wonderful quality of a devotee. If people get this quality of pleasing spiritual master and the devotees, especially Vaishnava Seva, we see this mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was performing this pastime of Gundicha Marjana, during that time, he was serving in such a great spirit, of cleansing the temple, he was putting so much of his love and energy to clean the temple. And the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleans the temple is very amazing. He removes all the dirt, he takes the broom and brooms the entire temple. And then, along with him, there are, 300 to 500 Vaishnavas who come from Bengal and, Vaishnava of Orissa. Everyone gathered around the Gundicha temple and everyone has a broom in the hand or a cloth in the hand and they're cleaning the temple thoroughly. And you just imagine what is the amount of dust, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu collected at the end of cleaning is far more better, far more greater than the dust collected by all the Vaishnavas together. So that was his enthusiasm. And again he told, once we have cleansed this thing, we'll do again cleaning. There are finer particles of dust still there in the temple. Let us clean it again. And he again goes and cleanses everything. And in that purport, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes a very beautiful point. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, he was just not wanting to just remove the gross dust or, the dust which was here and there, but he wanted to remove all the subtle dust also. He was comparing this with the process of cleansing. And there it is, externally we may give up many bad habits, but internally in the heart, there is this, what is this? There is this desire for prestige, puja la pratishtha. These desires are there within the heart of a devotee. And because of those desires, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to remove those subtle desires also. And he was cleansing it thoroughly, so thoroughly actually. And then he collected everything and he piled it and it was more greater than, and then when it came for cleansing with the water, he himself removed his upper cloth and he was cleansing with, putting a lot of water and cleansing the Gundicha Mandir with such great enthusiasm. There, in one of the lectures where Radhanath Maharaj was describing this thing, he was telling that is the eagerness a devotee should have for serving Vaishnavas, serving the devotees, serving the Vaishnavas, serving the Krishna, and serving the deities, he was saying. And that much eagerness, how much Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, if we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personality, whenever it came to service, he is like the first person to do it with such great enthusiasm. And when it came to glorifying the devotees, it is as if he had 5 months. When he started glorifying Vasudev Dutt, when he took this vow or when he asked the benediction to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that, oh Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please give me the benediction that all the living entities in the entire universe, this universe, be delivered actually, and let me take the sin of all the universe. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so very happy, and he started glorifying Vasudev Dutt as if he had 5 months. That's the description. And in fact, that is the perfection of, and he was glorifying Vasudev Dutt. He was just telling, you are in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. Your mood is in such a wonderful way that you had such compassion for the fallen souls that you wanted to take the sin of all, each and every living entity. In fact, it is told in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada writes that all the devotee, all the living entities in this world had gone to spiritual world because of Vasudev. That's greatest desire to deliver them. So it's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's enthusiasm to serve devotees, to appreciate devotees, or to render service is far greater. So he's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we may expect that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Or you please consider we are in the insignificant devotees. But we want to follow. If you see, in the same mode, we have very special soul. His name is Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. His way of enthusiasm. We are always. How many of you have seen the video where he dances with the drum, playing the drum? You have seen? I don't know, not seen. Oh my God, you should be seeing the way he plays the drum. Indradun Maharaj is there around. Radhanath Maharaj is there. Sachinanand Swami Maharaj is there. And they are dancing in ecstasy. And that was the mood, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj had always carried. And in fact, before leaving, he prayed that let me take all the sins or all the offenses what our devotees are doing, many of our devotees are doing in his home. And just after praying like that, he got the disease of cancer, leukemia, actually, I think. And then eventually he happened to leave his body. But that was the mood, of same like Vasudev Dutt, how he prayed, he's also praying. So I was telling his way of enthusiasm or his way of appreciation was so much, and his glorification of devotees is so very required. So it's very important that we get all this, we develop all these qualities actually. And these qualities can be developed only when we start contemplating on these qualities, or when we read about some personalities who have these qualities, or we associate with those devotees who have these qualities. Then only it's possible that we can get these qualities, and it's very, very important actually. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was such a great personality. Because I was just recently with few of his disciples actually in Baltimore, and the mood they carry there, so very amazing. It's something like you are coming in association with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. Directly it's like that. I've been into the place where Maharaj was living, so it's there in Baltimore. It's called Haifas, where Mother Kunti and her husband Madhvacharya Prabhu, they are living there. And when we met them, it was such a wonderful experience for us. We spent it around 3 hours, at least 3-4 hours in the evening, 3 hours, speaking about Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and his uh, different things what he was doing during that time. And it was such a wonderful time hearing about them. But the mood was so wonderful there, in the Haifas. You felt like, it's like, you, as soon as you enter that house also, you feel like the warmth of, someone is there for us to, you feel sometimes, right? When we go in a place, you feel the vibrations are very different there. Why? Because the personalities who have lived there are very, very wonderfully practicing Krishna consciousness. In fact, if you go to some temple, this experience always we get, that when we go to the temple also, the vibrations are different, or the mood is very different, and then we get affected by that mood. Festival is there, we get affected by that mood of festivity, and everyone is happy, so we become very happy also, because the mood is very much been there actually. So it's important that, and the experience we had was really very amazing. It's very touching to, you know, the way they were having this wonderful conversation was so very charming, and they were expressing all. We were asking many questions about Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, and we were asking about how was his mood, how was the different mood of the devotees there, and everything. We were just trying to churn and ask them, and it was very wonderful. So this is very important, that when we hear about such personalities, then we get some qualities, and we know there are so many devotees around who have these qualities, especially when we want to develop any quality of a devotee, we are looking forward when we come across in Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, and we want to develop that qualities. It's very important we associate with those persons who have those qualities, either by hearing from them, or getting personally or personal association by them. Then we get, especially we want to serve some devotees. If we want to develop this attitude of service. Sometimes what happens, especially what I had seen in US is, sorry, it's like little, I'm little frank in speaking, but devotees are little cozy in their atmosphere, in their own shelf of living. I can just do this much, please don't ask more head of, more commitment from my side to go ahead and do. But we want that, our movement, to grow, or our commitment to grow, then we have to push devotees also, and it should be a loving push. But then devotees also should be self-inspired to come and render a lot of service. So that is required. That happens when they start seeing that this is there in the heart of all devotees, that everyone wants to serve here, not that everyone wants to, and that extending nature should be there for a devotee. You just see the example of Shivananda Sen. My God, it takes a great role to organize a yatra. I don't know how many of you have organized a yatra or something like that, or just to make a devotee go for book distribution. Patukanam Prabhu can tell you how much it takes to make sure everyone comes in the car, sits there, and we go to the spot of book distribution, right? You have that experience, right? It takes so much time. We don't forget anything. Everything is arranged properly. There is prasadam which has been arranged, or there is everything. Same way, you just see Shivananda same, how much he was taking, how much anxiety he was taking for making devotees travel from Mayapur to Puri, and that too it's every year, and to and fro, and they used to walk. So it's like a great anxiety in one sense. But then he took that service actually, and he did that service so beautifully. Only one time, you remember the past time when it became little late for the prasadam, I think, and because he went ahead to pay the toll for the devotees to travel, and Nityaṁ Prabhu became very angry. He kicked Shivananda Sen. He told, your sons will die, and Shivananda Sen's wife, she became quite afraid, and started crying and everything. Shivananda Sen said, no, it's a blessing, and he accepted in a right mood, and nothing happened after that actually to his sons. But it's very important that we understand, we develop this quality of extending actually. Unless we develop this quality of extending ourselves in rendering services, and it takes the presence of mind. As you read this verse, she knew perfectly, she knew the heart. After the departure of her parents, the chaste Devahūti will understand the desire of her heart and serve him constantly with great love, a great love. So this is very important, that we understand each other's heart and each other's requirement also. Now, sometimes we have, in the sense, it's like, we understand the requirement of a pure devotee, that, what is his need and other things. But for devotees who are living around also, we understand what is the need around, or what is the need of some services are required. And, if we don't extend for those services when it is required, then it's like a great, we lose the opportunity to grow actually in our bhakti. We might be very much be busy in our own things, what we are doing, but then we lose an opportunity to serve the devotees around and to please that devotee. Krishna will be far more happy actually when we start serving the devotees, and he'll be so very happy. We just see how Krishna becomes so very pleased when we start serving and pleasing the devotees. In fact, How long I can take? I don't know. 7:45 up to end?
So we can go until 8.
8? Sure.
Yeah, then 10 minutes of questions.
8. We can go till 8 and then questions, or before 8 and then questions
8 we can go.
with questions.
Yeah, and you can speak until 8.
Okay, I can speak until 8. Thank you. So Krishna is so very pleased actually when we start serving the devotees. In fact, if you see how much Srila Prabhupada was ready to serve, all his devotees. I'm speaking, but there's so many examples of not like great acharyas or someone, but there are so many examples of devotees who were serving each other so very nicely. If you see, when this marathon was happening of writing CC, Chaitanya Charitamrita, in 2 months, there were devotees who were serving each other, and there were many were not like directly in the service, but there were many Matajis who cherished the desire of washing the clothes of devotees who are rendering service in the forefront, like drawing and publishing or writing and translation and everything like that, proofreading and other things. So they were doing all the backup services, and they were more blissful than these devotees who were rendering. Though everyone was very blissful, but one of the offerings what I heard was we were more blissful actually just by rendering some service to these devotees, and that was the need during that time. And these devotees, the Mataji was telling that I don't remember her name because this offering was 5 years maybe when Vrindavan temple 40th anniversary was happening. That time this Mataji was expressing this thing. So she was telling we were taking care of the kids, and that was like taking care of so many kids at one time, 3-4 kids or 5-6 kids they were taking care. They're washing the clothes, they're making prasadam and bringing prasadam and giving, almost like they're feeding also. It was like that. At some stages it was happening like that. So this is very important that we develop this desire of serving actually. Unless we develop this desire for serving, it's very pleasing to Lord actually, and very pleasing to devotees. And this is how one can get this qualities of pleasing his spiritual master. I was just reading this talk by I was hearing the talk from by Maharaj, and he was telling this. Srila Prabhupada had given a very simple formula, that is by cooperating and by accepting, by cooperating with each other, and then by accepting whatever it takes to bring devotees closer to Krishna. If that is done by devotees, then it becomes a very wonderful service. In fact, for us, it's very important that we don't do any such things, or we act in any such way that it takes us away from, takes the devotee away from Krishna, or that is very important for a devotee. In fact, not just with devotees, but with outsiders also. When we have this thing, in fact, while going for book distribution also, we come across so many of people around. But what is the one thing what is required, Vaisheshika Maharaj also tells that it's required that at least if he is not taking the book, there should be a good expression which is left on that person when he makes a devotee. That next time, that expression, or that feeling is there with that devotee, with that person. The next time when he come across a devotee, definitely that Gyatsukriti will increase and he may accept a book also. If the impression is not so good, if the impression is of some argument or something like that, the next time he'll see a devotee and he'll just turn away his face and go away. So it's very important for us that we have this, in fact, not just with devotees but with outsiders also, that we act in such a way every time that whomever we come across, we have this feeling of bringing them closer to Krishna. And that can happen only when we develop wonderful qualities which are mentioned here actually in the scriptures actually in this thing. So how do we what are the things? So I just want to ask, what are the things what stops us from going ahead and making ourselves more extending. What thing stops us actually?
Fear.
Huh?
Fear.
Fear for?
Not being able to succeed. Not being able to succeed in the service. Not being able to be successful.
Okay. What else?
Laziness.
Laziness. Yes. Laziness. This is one of the things which Srila Prabhupada never liked it. In fact, when someone was lazy, Srila Prabhupada was like on fire. Srila Prabhupada, really, someone was lazy now, it was like Srila Prabhupada was always on fire, And this one quality of laziness, now, it's very, very difficult. It just uh, cannot be given up so easily also. It requires a push of being enthusiastic by oneself and being seeing that to give up this laziness is a great challenge also. Because every living entity wants a cozy life only. It's not like so I'll tell you one small pastime. One time Gaurang Prabhu was giving a talk, and in that talk he was giving an example. During 1890s or 1990s, there was this one brahmachari, and he wanted to go away from the ashram. So go enter into Grihastha ashram. So while going, they were having a meeting with him, and discussing about everything. So Gaurang Prabhu, some of the devotees asked, so you have any opinion, what was the best thing you like in the ashram, or what is the best thing you got? He told everything was so good, everything was so good. And he told any improvements you want us to make in our ashram, or any difficulty you felt which you want us to improve. He told yes, Prabhuji, एक चीज करना. But if you do all this one thing, I could have stayed in ashram for long. And he told, Prabhuji, मंगल आरती 10 बजे रखते ना, तो मजा आ जाता था. You can understand the mood of that person, just by sending that one sentence. No, Mangal Aarti agar, that day he was telling you keep the Mangal Aarti at 10 o'clock, and in the mood, it would have been so wonderful for me. I would have stayed here.
10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. So he wanted to have a very cozy life actually. Yeah, that is like the thing, and it never goes, with spiritual life that to be cozy, especially, we have to be very serious and sincere in our practice. Then only our spiritual lives can be very much beyond fire, or it can go on the fast track, or else it's like our Indian roads, where vehicle goes and stops in the what do you call it, the traffic like anything. Here you see the vehicles go with super fast speed. Why? Because the road is very clear and we have everything proper. So that is very important that we develop this seriousness. Actually, what now there is not so much awareness also that of awareness in the sense there is not so much urgency which is felt actually by a devotee to develop these qualities, because this mindset generally is seen, that I can be very very much grow in my Krishna consciousness at my own space, and I can grow at that place. In fact, I'm telling for myself also. We also go in that attitude only sometimes. So, but it's very much important that we develop this attitude of serving and attitude of urgency actually. Unless we feel the urgency of serving the devotees, or we feel that it's so very rare. You just imagine how it is so rare to render service to a Vaishnava. It's very, very rare. It's not so easy that, we are so fortunate that we live around with devotees. You ask any person who is outside, who is living, it's like he's there with his family, that's it. But there is hardly any service. So that one thing is that we don't have that rarity, we don't understand how rare it is, to live among the devotees and to get an opportunity to serve their devotees and to serve devotees around, it's so very rare actually. If we see you in human form of life, we got this opportunity of practicing bhakti. How many people in US are practicing devotional service? Not even, I don't think, not even more than 10,000, right? And what is the population of US?
300 million.
300 millions. And in that, if we just consider maybe around 10,000 or maybe 15,000 or 20,000. I don't know 20,000. I'm just guessing. Maybe around, there might be more devotees also. But it's the probability of the devotees becoming a devotee is so very rare. And then we see after becoming rare, then we have our own conditionings and our own understandings of philosophy, our own understanding. And then this mood of serving is not there in everyone. So they have their own things around to do, their own things. But these things have to be understood and these things have to be developed, especially for, one to advance very nicely in devotional service. So we have to take, especially we have to take the association very seriously. One thing is that, and we have to take every opportunity to render services to each and every devotee. In fact, Prabhupada was so very happy when devotees served each other actually. And each other, they cooperate with each other and they push the movement ahead. And they push the movement ahead in the sense that they push the devotees to bring closer to Krishna. That was required, and that is what Prabhupada wanted always. That we do this thing. So we can make sure that we come out of our this laziness, and especially in US it's very 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 common actually. Yeah, what I've seen is people have a very, because their facility wise it's like so much has been provided here, and every person is earning so much also, that there is this circle around him where he can go in a cozy atmosphere and he'll render some services whatever is just been asked by him. But then to come ahead and take the pinch, that pinch only will, when there is a pinch in the body, you understand? It's like pinch in the body in the sense when there is a push in the body, push in the thing that you have to do, go extend little bit. Then only that extra mercy will attract the Lord so much. Actually. Oh, let me just, sometimes, we just, this question was asked by one devotee to Swam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj. Maharaj, how do we draw a line? Nataraja Prabhu was asking, how do we draw a line? We see so many things around, and there are certain things which I can do, but if we start doing everything, like there's cleaning to be done, there is, preaching to be done, there is, book distribution to be done, everything should be done, and if I start putting myself everywhere, then, I end up doing nothing, or I end up doing something which is not proper. So how do we draw this line, But then it's very important to understand that, whatever is required for devotees to bring them closer to Krishna, that should be done. And that should be done under proper guidance. But that enthusiasm should be there to serve. If we can develop that enthusiasm to serve devotees, that will be the best thing what a devotee can grow actually in his bhakti actually. So I'll stop here. It's 8 o'clock now. 5 or 10 minutes, we can just have some reflections or some questions or some of your understandings. Sorry, I did not prepare properly because I did not get a proper topic for you to discuss. So whatever I was reading, I just came across these beautiful verses. I thought I'll discuss with this thing. If you have some topic, then if you give me, then we'll prepare properly and then present it properly. So that is also required. It's like little disservices from my side also, I feel. Though whatever I spoke, I don't know how much helpful it will be for all of you.
That was good for me. We all got a lot out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, any discussions we can have for 5 minutes? You can also throw some light on these things. It's not like, I only just keep speaking. Because this topic of developing the qualities and serving the devotees is so very important, and all of you have been hearing and rendering so much services also. So everyone has that mood also to understand these things, and they have their own points to be brought out also actually. And here actually I really love the way Vaisheshika Maharaj actually brings this point of everyone should throw a reflection. Everyone should be able to take some part in the discussion. It's not just the speaker, who is he keeps speaking or getting to throw his thoughts, but rather than everyone has that opportunity to express their thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you for the class. I really like the 4 qualities that you mentioned about Narada Muni. Required for a disciple to serve the spiritual master. I have a question, the same question which you said, network who asked, but I didn't understand the answer.
Just get my phone. I'll tell you the answer. I did not express the answer only. I just told the question and I just stopped there.
That is the same question I want to ask. So there is
Swam Bhagavan Maharaj gave a very wonderful answer. I'll just tell that answer so that
how to be told my there is something called stretch and there is something called stress. How do we know that we are stretching and we are not stressing?
yes.
Personally and for others too.
Yes. So 3 things are needed to see any service or anything to take properly is we need great sangha of devotees, great energy, great bonding, great friendship. This is what is required for any services to go on. I'm telling about what Maharaj has told. Then I'll address this point of this thing. Then even if the project or even if the seva is not growing, but individually, sometimes what happens, we might see that, we are part of a team where, things are not moving ahead. But, it's like our thought process is that we are doing so much service, but things are not moving ahead. But individually, if you are able to grow internally in our Krishna consciousness, then that also, and especially if it is helping us to increase our taste for reading, increasing our taste for chanting, increasing our taste for rendering service, and that is very much required. And he told, most important thing is, as was telling now, we need to prioritize what we are doing and what is required, and we need to have a proper vision of what is required. So if we have a proper vision of our services, what are expected and what we are able to fulfill, then things get clearer for everyone. This planning is required. Sometimes the meetings are very important. Internally we have a meeting and we decide what are things are required for me to be done and what are the things I should be doing. Like, now next 6 months, what I'm supposed to do, or next coming 2 years, what am I supposed to do? If that proper vision is there, I'll be doing my Bhakti Shastri. This is my Shastri way. For services, I'll be doing book distribution, or for, I'll be going for college preaching, or, I'll be going for, and then internally what is required for living here, whatever services are required. We divide it, we have a proper vision, who is doing what, who is doing whatever is required for a person to be done, or for a place to be, that people are inspired to take up this seva. So those things are very much required. As I told you, we require this proper plan for what is to be done. If it is done very properly, if the vision is very clear, if this is the goal of what I'm doing, then we can prioritize our things actually, and we can have a discussion and delegate the services accordingly. And then we make sure that we can start doing those services properly. So planning is required, planning and then meetings and then execution is required. For that we need to sit back and think of. We always cannot be just hurrying for doing everything and everything, anything and everything. But if this is done, then things will improve so much actually. Yeah, any other points you want to have?
Yeah, Shivananda Prabhu kicked Shivananda saying, but then I thought about, Shivananda saying was always doing the service. And normally if someone's always doing something, they get disrespected, you'll start hearing, man, every time I do this, now you're giving me problems, man, forget this, and I'll just give up the service. But he not only didn't give up the service or even tolerate it but feel bad, he actually went to his wife and said, no, this is a blessing. So I think it's like hard to understand, but then it's also interesting. So it shows what humility really looks like.
Yes.
You do everything right and you still get chastised and you're happy about it. Well, yeah, not easy. I don't even know if I could replicate that, but at least it's a nice example.
One of his relatives, Shrikant Sen, he got quite disturbed by seeing this action of Nityananda Prabhu. And what he does is he just walks ahead of the complete yatra which was going to. This happened before reaching Puri, Jagannath Puri. So he becomes quite disturbed and he just walks ahead to Jagannath Puri. And there he happens to go and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And while meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he doesn't directly offer obeisances. Or when you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will offer obeisances and other things like that. So he did not offer. And Govinda, his servant, was trying to just tell Shrikant Singh that you need to properly follow the etiquette actually. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stops him and tells him, don't do anything. He's quite disturbed. I can see that. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comforts Shrikant Singh, and eventually he understands the mood of Nityananda Prabhu also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So yeah, some may get disturbed by some disrespect or some discouragement which takes place when we even in spite of rendering some service also. That will happen. That's part of that's part sometimes. But then we still keep going on. That is what we take the lesson that we develop this attitude of growing in spite of so many failures keep coming up. If you see the example or if you see the life of Srila Prabhupada, how much discouragement was there? What all things he had gone just to come to US actually, to come to America. My God, they were like failure after failure, failure after failure. But he never gave up. He was so fixed, so determined. Same way we also should be fixed up. Now we have got this Krishna consciousness, which Prabhupada has taken so much toll to give everyone. And now we got this so very easily, but what we do is we take it for granted. Well, yeah, this is so common. You can just become a devotee like this. It's not like that. There's so much effort which were put by so many devotees that we are enjoying the fruits of that by being here. Now it's our time that we again put our efforts to make other people devotees actually. Those who are suffering outside. So unless we, take part and we don't put our energy in making others devotee, then it's like, we are not grateful for what we got actually, but we're not following what has been expected by Srila Prabhupada. And it takes gallons of blood, to make one devotee. And that's really true here in US at least. You cannot make a devotee so easily. Just cannot convince a person to chant 16 rounds. In India, you can just make a person chant 16 rounds within some time. It's like within 6 months or a year. People just, if you're there in a very nice setup, they just grow very nicely. But here, in spite of such nice setups and everything like that, you just cannot expect that people will take up, the process of, chanting 16 rounds or, following the 4 regulative principles so very easily. It's very challenging. So it takes so much of energy to convince a person or to bring that person closer to Krishna. And for that, we need to develop all these qualities. When they see that devotees have these qualities, then their hearts can little bit change. Very, very tough. And we need to, now it's our part actually that we need to put a lot of efforts. Or else things may just keep going on. Devotees who extend, who wants to sacrifice, who wants to do, they get a lot of mercy. And we just are seeing that they are getting a lot of mercy. Hari Bol, we are just on the side of telling Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. But we should also be on the part of receiving a lot of mercy. And it's very easy. Just little troll on our side is, we need to come to a point of taking some difficulties or taking some anxiety for instance. In fact, if you see Yashoda Mata Yashoda Mai was so much in anxiety every day before sending Krishna to to forest for grazing the cows. To make sure the prasadam is been packed properly, Krishna is ready on time, and all things are properly been taken. And there's always that Balram is there for the protection of Krishna. There was so much anxiety. So serving Krishna means there is a lot of anxiety also. We have to accept that anxiety. That's loving anxiety. It's not like something which has been forced. That you should be in anxiety. That's loving anxiety. We should have. Yes, I think we should stop here now. 8:15 now. Correct, no? Or at one point, if anyone would just want to share, I'll not add anything. Someone wants to share something.
You have anything online?
We have 2 devotees. Yeah. Anybody
there?
online? Vishal Prabhu or Lokwan Ram Prabhu? Would you like to add anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I really like the point when you mentioned that we should develop a sense of urgency, because in this material world, our life is anitya, or it can be taken away at any point of time. So if we are lax or a little bit, if we're not giving our very best to Krishna, then we lose out on an opportunity because our life can be taken away at any point of time. So I was just reflecting on the temporariness in the material world.
Thank you for sharing that wonderful point. Anyone else? Last one point and then we end, or we end here? We end here. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai.
Jai.